All right, so first question, 20 years since Lone Star came out. What was your thought process when you were reading the script? Like, what made you want to accept the project?
Well, I mean, with 15 years of doing stage work before I ever did any film work, you get reading plays, you get a good sense of a good story. And that's paramount, that's really important for me. Um, the films that knocked me out as a kid were from the 50s and the 60s, and those primarily deal with human behavior and human emotion. It wasn't all these special effects and car crashes and explosions and all that. It was, looking at human nature, and that's what captivated me, to become an actor. And I studied with some of the best. Studied in New York with Stella Adler and a great coach that came out of Neighborhood Playhouse, Win Hanman. He's still alive in his 90s now and still teaching. And he taught me that good acting over the years really doesn't change. He worked with people like Paul Newman, Robert Duvall, kind of what you consider old timers now, and his method is still the same.
Okay. So how would you say acting has changed, since the 50s to now?
Well, there was a time where there were some men and women that changed acting, primarily in the 50s. And as far as the men, the immediate three were Montgomery Clift, Marlon Brando, and Jimmy Dean. The women were Jo Van Fleet and Mercedes McCambridge. They all came out of Actors Studio or spent some time in Actors Studio. But they all, I must say, they all had their own special talent. And so they changed the course of acting. And we all see it now to a much more realistic level than the actors of the 30s and 40s and many of the actors from the 50s. There's big leaps made.
Okay. So when you're reading or offered a script or anything, what do you look for in the character or the script? What makes you say I want to be part of this project?
It'll vary. It's always depends on story. And if the character is very much like me, doesn't make the work any easier. And then if the character is very different from me, a real stretch, or he ages from... I recently did a piece where they youthen me to where I'm 51 to my late 80s, and that's 4 layers of old age makeup to get the effect. It's story, and that's all that a good tale, and good, interesting human behavior.
So what attracted you to Sam then, or do you consider anything like Sam?
That's kind of a funny story. John Sayles is a good friend of ours. We went up to John's house for dinner. All through dinner, he's telling me about this script that he's written called Lone Star. I say, that's great. And very involved story. And only at the end does he say, and I want you to play the sheriff. So that kind of knocked me out. And then once I got the script, I kind of got blocked for about two weeks. I had to set the script aside because I wasn't putting 2 and 2 together, and just left the script alone. Came back to it after 2 weeks, and things started to unfold. But to answer your question, John said that he based Sam Deeds on me, on his observations of me. So that's how that came about.
All right, well, thank you so much for talking to us. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much.